Alright, so in this video we're checking out this Darwin FPV. This is an 04 Pro waterproof case. Now, when I first got contacted by Darwin FPV, I thought they were going to send me the fully built version with the 04 air unit, the 04 Pro air unit already installed, but apparently these 04 air units are very hard to come by. Not only here in the States, but probably elsewhere. And so they just sent me the case. So it's a big price difference, of course. The fully built one is $380, which includes the price of the air unit plus the price of the case and also the cost of labor to do the installation. If you just want the case by itself, it's $60, which you see here. And then I think there's a set of ND filters for this that are a separate cost, but these are compatible with the ND filters from the Action 4 and Action 5. So if you have those, then you don't need to get the filters. I think they just sent me the case. So there's a little wrench here. I think it's part of the install process. I'm just gonna go through what we got here and a little bit of so I guess before I open this up and talk about this, obviously this is a waterproof case, so you stick the air unit and camera in here, and it makes it modular, so you can kind of move it around from quad to quad. So if you want something that is modular, kind of like something similar to, say, what the Speedy the 04 head does on their Cineweb and also the Master 3X frame, you can kind of move the air unit around. But yeah, I think they have a new waterproof drone from the Hulk series. It's the Hulk 2, I think, that's going to be featuring this as well. I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing that or not. I did review the first version of that in the analog version, I think a few years back. So yeah, it's it makes it modular, makes it waterproof, and you can kind of move it around. Also provides a little bit of, I guess, additional durability for crashes because it is all fully CNC aluminum. And yeah, it's going to require some amount of skill to install because you're dealing with some small parts. So if you want the fully built version already, I'd recommend just getting that. And if you're concerned about doing the install, the website does have, or their YouTube channel does have, a video on how to do the full install. So I'm not going to cover that in this video. Obviously, I don't have any spare 04 Pro air units to sacrifice for this build. I have very few of those, and they're very hard to get in the US now. If you go anywhere, anything DJI drone related, whether it's like a camera drone, like the Mavic series or Air series, those are very hard to come by. There's still some of the sort of the cheaper consumer drones available, like the DJI Mini 4K and the Neo. Some flips are still out there, but I think stock is dwindling on those. And then of course the 04 and the 04 Pro air units are pretty much out of stock everywhere, as far as I can tell. If I have missed any places that still have them in stock, let me know, because I would like to buy more of those, but I can't seem to find them. And yeah, that's just the situation right now with DJI. It's going on. I think most of you probably already know in terms of what the reasoning is. It's because of not because of there's some sort of a drone ban. It's because there's something going on at customs and border protection where they're not allowing any of these DJI products into the U.S. And I think it has something to do with some sort of child labor law, and that's how they're using it to prevent things from coming in. And I've even heard stories from people. Some people have told me that they have driven over the border to Canada to buy either like a Mavic or DJI goggles or whatever, and then when they re-enter the U.S., customs has confiscated their DJI products because they're not allowed in the U.S. So not sure how believable that is. Now, obviously, I obviously haven't experienced that myself, but I've heard that from a few people, and it's kind of shocking. I don't know if that's affecting everybody, because I'm sure there's people that don't declare what they are bringing back, which I think is a felony if you do that. Anyway, I'm not saying you should do that, but heard people saying that they're not declaring that they're bringing back, illegal products and they're sneaking them through. So I guess that's technically smuggling. So anyway, I'm not going to get into that here. That's kind of a crazy situation. But yeah, bottom line is these DJI products are very hard to find. You can still find some, like if you're looking for like DJI Goggles 3, Goggles 2, Goggles Integra, they're out of stock everywhere as far as I know in the US, but you can still find them on like eBay and Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, at pretty ridiculous prices. In some cases, I've heard people trying to sell the Goggles 3 for like $1,200, $800, pretty crazy. And I get these really hilarious emails from people saying that I need to put out videos telling people not to sell their DJI Goggles 3 for more than they sell brand new. And I'm like, well, I can't make that video because I can't tell people what they should or should not sell their stuff for. That's totally up to them. And if the market is willing to pay those kind of prices for used equipment that you can't find anywhere else, then who am I to say that they shouldn't otherwise? It's a free society. It's capitalism. If they want to do that, and if there's a demand and people are going to pay, then I'm all for that. This is not a communist country, so I just want to say that to people out there that feel like people can't sell stuff for what they want to is kind of ridiculous. If the market says that they'll pay for that, then the people that are selling it should receive what is a fair price. Now, if the market says that that's too much, then of course, if there's no demand, then it's not going to sell. So the prices will come down. That's just simple capitalism there. Anyway, sorry for the rant there. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got in here. I may build this at some point in the future. I don't know. If I'm lucky enough to acquire an 04 Pro Air unit, I may do that. So we got looks like some silicone rings there. It's probably for maintaining the waterproof steel. I see a gasket there as well. I'm sure there's ones already on here. It's got some stickers. By the way, there is an installation video. I think I mentioned that earlier in this video. There's an installation video on how to install this. Basically from beginning to end. It's pretty comprehensive, so I'm not going to do the installation, of course, because I don't have one to install. But yeah, there's a QR code for their support page. This is all of the thermal grease here that you're gonna need to put on the heatsink of the 04 Pro Air unit, and there's a heatsink on this case as well. So you got a bunch of those. You get some connectors here, and yeah, it looks like it's got waterproofing on here. I'm not sure. This is the same 6-pin connector, it looks like, for connecting to your quad. And this is the there's the unit itself, and I'm not sure why it's in this 3D printed sleeve. I'm not sure if that's part of this design. Let's see if I can pop this out. Yeah, so it just comes out. I think this is just to hold it together. Let me just pull this out here. Yeah. This is not part of this. I think it's just part of the packaging. Kind of weird. It's kind of unnecessary, but it holds everything together. This is the, I guess, just the standard lens protector that comes here. Just it screws on. And then there's that waterproof gasket there. It does require taking the camera apart. I think the camera housing is going to be ripped apart completely to get inside here. Again, watch that install video. And then you got some M2 screws to hold this case together. But yeah, it looks like it's already assembled like this. So in order to get inside the case, you have to take these M2 screws out. But I guess so. This is going to give you an idea what this looks like. That wrench that's on the back here is for the antenna holder. So you can see the little hex there. and then there's some rubber gaskets in there, so the antennas are going to go in there. You're going to obviously disconnect them from the air unit and put them in, and then reconnect it to the air unit. The air unit heatsink is going to be on this part here, so you're going to stick. It's going to be facing backwards, and then there's a there's a little plate here. It covers the USB Type-C port, so you get access to that. I think that's also waterproof. And yeah, I think you're gonna, looks like I don't see a spot for the micro SD card slot anywhere. So the only way to get the files off of there will be take this little plate off and then connect a USB-C cable to the air units inside. That's kind of unfortunate. I wish there was another way to get files off of there. It looks like that's the only way. If there's a way to get the files off here wirelessly, let me know if anyone knows if there's a way to do that. But I mean, overall, this quality is nice CNC aluminum, obviously black. This is the plug that's on the bottom there. That's going to correspond to the plug that goes onto the air unit. Standard 6-pin plug that goes to your flight controller. And again, you can then move it around from quad to quad. Now, I think one thing that's missing here is there's supposed to be a GoPro mount that connects onto here. And it might be inside here. I'm not sure. It's possibly could be inside. Let me see here if there's anything that's supposed to be inside this case. Pull this off. Yeah, it looks like there's parts inside. I see a plastic bag there. It's probably inside there. I doubt that they would not include that. That's the only thing I see that's missing. Is there's a GoPro mount and 4 screws that go on the bottom here, and then that allows you to move it around. But of course, that's optional. You don't have to install that. Then you can find a different way of mounting it from quad to quad, and then you can just move this from your different quads. Say because these 04 areas are really hard to find. So this is kind of nice. It makes it modular, and you can kind of move it around from different models. But you'll need to have frames that accommodate this sort of design where you're moving the camera module around. I may look into it in the future, but yeah, I wish there was a better way of dealing with the USB-C port and still allowing it to be waterproof. Because this looks like it's going to be kind of a hassle. Every time you want to take your files off of here, you got to unscrew this plate and then plug in a USB cable. So not sure how convenient that is or how much of a hassle it's going to be overall. You guys can let me know in the comments, but that's going to cover this video. I'm not sure when or if the whole DJI out of stock situation is going to improve at any point here in the near future. So, I'll have updates on that on my channel at some point later, but that's going to cover for now. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.